It seems the Chicago Sky have had to move two of their home games to a larger facility, a larger basketball facility.
A bigger basketball court. Angel, did you see what just transpired? After the Chicago Sky revealed that they would only be moving Caitlin Clark's games to the United Center, Reese is furious. Her games would remain at the same location, and she is yelling, "They watch for me too." However, the data presents an entirely different picture.
I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Let's dispel this misconception and show why it is illogical. Last season, Caitlin Clark's games drew an average of almost 17,000 fans, but Reese's hardly reached 9,000. This isn't about favoritism, it's about hard money, and we're going to explain why Reese is fighting a battle she can't win. It's not just Chicago teams. The entire WNBA is scurrying to reserve larger arenas just when Clark visits town.
I'm sure, no doubt, this is the Angel Reese effect. I've got no doubts, no qualms. There's nothing. She even told me herself right here that it's not just one other player, it's because of her too.
Angel Reese is furious about the Chicago Sky's decision that has caused her to doubt her own worth to the team. The Sky recently made a shocking announcement that has left their star rookie feeling completely disrespected. They're moving only 2 games next season to the massive United Center. And guess what? Only the games against the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark.
What I do realize is that as of right now, no other Chicago Sky games have been moved to the United Center, except for one, Indiana Fever.
Angel, the same Angel who said, "They watch for me too," is now watching in shock as her team's actions speak louder than her words. The message from her own team couldn't be more clear, and it hurts. Reese couldn't contain her frustration and is obviously troubled by what this decision suggests about her star power.
America's team versus a team who has the person who is the scourge of society. Oh, God. Oh, man.
This venue improvement is more than a minor adjustment. The United Center can accommodate over 21,000 screaming fans, more than doubling the capacity of their regular home at Winrust Arena, which has a 10,000-seat maximum. That's not just a few extra tickets. It's a completely different atmosphere and a declaration about who the Sky believes can fill those additional 11,000 seats.
In case you're wondering what the difference is, right here, that Wintrust Arena, 10,000 seats for basketball, 20,917 at the United Center for basketball.
It's especially telling that, despite having a large social media following and garnering a lot of attention from the league, Reese was not given any special treatment for any of the games she played in last season, even though she was one of the most talked about rookies alongside Clark and there were no venue upgrades. It's obvious that Angel notices the stark contrast.
They have Angel. Shouldn't all their games be played at the United Center? Question mark. No, I mean, that's inquiring minds want to know. That's a legitimate question.
Let's now discuss how the Sky attempted to manipulate this group. If this were really about celebrating fan enthusiasm in general, wouldn't they upgrade venues for more than just the 2 games featuring Clark? The selective nature of these upgrades tells the true story. President Adam Fox tried to frame the entire situation as simply rewarding fan passion, but that explanation falls flat when you look at the facts.
This is the first time that the Chicago Sky will be playing at the United Center, and so that should be cool, right? And it's the 2 times that the Chicago Sky are playing the Indiana Fever at home. The Chicago Sky are playing the Fever 5 times this year, and 3 of those times is in Indiana, 2 of those times is in Chicago.
The Chicago Sky are making a business decision in front of everyone, including their own star player. This isn't just any odd scheduling circumstance or coincidence. It's an honest declaration about who they think is the real box office attraction in women's basketball at the moment.
As a person who wants the game to grow, as someone who wants the Chicago Sky to make as much money as possible, as someone who wants to see big numbers at a WNBA game, I think this is great. I love it.
And this is the point at which the figures become somewhat intriguing. More than just prestige or aesthetics, moving those Clark games to the United Center is expected to generate an extra $4 million in revenue over keeping them at Winrest Arena. That kind of financial impact forces executives to pay attention and crystallize business decisions when there is so much money at stake.
As someone who loves the game of basketball, as someone who is a supporter of the Sky and wants everybody to make as much money as possible, I love this.
The $4 million venue shift we just discussed is only the tip of the financial iceberg when you consider what Caitlin Clark is doing to attendance numbers across the league. When business decisions of this size are made, they are not based on sentiments or Twitter followers, but rather on hard data.
Last year, the Indiana Fever were in Chicago, and a lot of us were asking, why aren't they putting this in the big arena? Are they really that stubborn that they're ready to just turn away dollars just for a narrative?
To put it simply, Clark is not only gaining more fans, she is completely changing the WNBA attendance playbook. The Indiana Fever not only barely broke previous attendance records with Clark at the forefront, but they completely destroyed them, smashing the previous WNBA single-season attendance record by an astounding 36%. Imagine that a rookie enters the game and immediately breaks a record that has stood since 2001.
Seems as if they got their end of their year report, looked at the bottom line and said, you know what? Slam shut. In 2025, we're gonna be in the United Center. Maybe some of the owners were started talking behind the scenes, right?
It appears like they looked at the bottom line of their year-end report and declared, you know what, slam shut. In 2025, we're going to be in the United Center. Perhaps some of the owners began discussing behind the scenes, so you're curious about how strong Clark's drawing power is. 3 different occasions during her rookie season, the Fever were able to load venues with over 20,000 fans, which is playoff-level attendance during regular season games. When is the last time you witnessed a first-year athlete in any sport have that sort of pull?
Not even just the ticket sales, merchandise sales, concession stands, parking. Dude, they are racking in money from every area when Caitlin Clark comes to town. So, of course, the Chicago Sky, oh, fine. I guess I'll milk that well until it's dry. Remember Caitlin Clark?
Angel continues to maintain that she should be given equal billing, but the attendance statistics paint a harsh picture. While Reese's games barely managed to reach the 9,000 mark, Clark's games frequently drew an average of around 17,000 fans. This is no little difference. We're talking about Clark regularly drawing twice as many people.
At the end of the day, folks, in case we're all not aware, the owners, they might be talking a lot of hot shit, but they're capitalists at the end of the day. They want to make their bread at the end of the day.
And this is where the narrative becomes even more captivating. The largest crowd ever seen by the Chicago Sky, which wasn't even at any of Angel's games last season. Their attendance record was set in 2016 when they drew in over 16,000 spectators, when Reese was still in high school and far from the professional ranks.
The United Center, like I said, 21,000 capacity, 23,000 for concerts, 21,000 for capacity. Oh, we're going into the big boy arena and leaving the Wintrust Arena.
When Reese and Clark faced off against each other last season, ticket prices skyrocketed into the thousands as fans flocked to see both rookies on the same court. However, what about when Reese played without Clark present? Those tickets hardly moved above face value, like the crowd equivalent of a shoulder shrug. The market doesn't lie either.
1,387 people. What's that trend going along? Do you want to take this dollar bill or do you want to double it and hand it to the next? Do you want to take this Caitlin Clark attendance record or do you want to double it into the next year? Oh, you want to double it into the next year? Oh, say no more.
These are not only coincidental or sporadic variations. This is the market's invisible hand giving a very clear indication of who is most responsible for the WNBA's recent surge in popularity. The numbers just don't lie. When it comes to seating arrangements, Clark isn't just a little more well-liked or somewhat more fascinating to fans. She's in a whole other universe.
We will double it into the next year, and this is going to be the first game ever first WNBA game ever to be played at the United Center. I don't know why it's the first game ever, because the WNBA has had so many stars over the last 15 to 20 years.
This isn't about who receives more media attention or who has more Instagram followers. According to the basic economics of professional sports, teams choose their venues based on anticipated attendance, and the data indicates that Clark's presence ensures sold-out venues while Reese's does not.
That's right. They don't sell out their home games with Angel Reese. Have I said that before? I have. They don't sell out their home games with Angel Reese. I think they average around 9,000 fans last year per game.
This isn't just a Chicago phenomena. The entire WNBA is experiencing a financial revolution. If you thought the Sky decision was the result of a single team making a business choice, check again. The trend is so obvious that even the most casual fan couldn't ignore it. The identical action has already been taken by 5 distinct franchises, resulting in what is essentially a 2-tier gaming system. While everyone else plays in typical WNBA venues, Caitlin Clark plays in enormous NBA arenas.
You got the Atlanta Dream owner talking to the Minnesota Lynx owner, talking to the Seattle Storm owner, talking to the... Guys, I'm telling you, when Caitlin Clark comes to town, put it in the big arena, because she is box office, and it is going to be big money.
Let me give you an overview of the current situation. The Washington Mystics didn't merely rearrange their schedule. They packed up their entire business and relocated their Fever game to Baltimore's CFG Bank Arena, which can accommodate almost 15,000 yelling fans. This isn't a small change. Rather, it's a significant renovation created especially to take advantage of the Clark Hag.
The scheduling is very interesting. There is a little reaction on that already. But let's take a look at this right here. 6 WNBA teams that moved games versus Caitlin Clark in the Fever to larger venues. I did the Dallas Wings, and I did the Atlanta Dream, and I did the Chicago Sky.
And they're not alone. Have you heard about the Connecticut Sun's recent decision to set up shop on the historic park floor of TD Garden, home of the Boston Celtics, instead of their usual home court for their game versus the Fever? Not only is the facility being upgraded, but they are also almost increasing the number of seats for a single game with one player.
Atlanta Dream moved 1 game to the State Farm Arena. Chicago Sky moved 2 games to the United Center, home of the Bulls, home of the Blackhawks. In Atlanta, by the way, that's the home of the Hawks. Connecticut Sun moved 1 game to TD Garden, home of the NBA Celtics. That's going to look really freaking cool on TV.
The icy financial calculations that underlie these choices only serve to heighten the intrigue of the scenario. These are not snap decisions taken at random. Every ticket sale counts, every concession purchase counts, and NBA teams have been operating on razor-thin profit margins for years, sometimes even losing money season after season. As a result, when teams make these kinds of drastic venue changes, they are exposing exactly where they think the money is.
We're now at the stage where Caitlin Clark is probably going to be responsible, I'm not joking when I say this, for games where she plays in are probably going to be responsible for 30% of the attendance in the WNBA.
Additionally, where is the money going? According to league data, Caitlin Clark is a shadow. Last year, she was the only rookie responsible for 25% of the total revenue of a professional sports league. In addition to being well-liked, she is a one-woman economic stimulus package for women's basketball.
There are teams that are going to average 3,000 fans at games, but have 17,000 fans when Caitlin Clark shows up to town with the Fever.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese keeps enhancing her brand on social media, claiming co-ownership of the WNBA's recent surge in popularity. However, the venue ledger reveals that not a single team has decided it is financially advantageous to upgrade venues when Reese visits town without Clark on the opposing bench. The number of teams that have moved their games to larger arenas specifically for an appearance by Angel Reese is 0.
The Phoenix Mercury play in the NBA arena. The Seattle Storm do. There are 13 WNBA teams, 7 already playing NBA arenas. The other 6 are moving their games to NBA arenas versus the Fever. You can't acknowledge that she is the needle mover. Yeah,
The situation we're seeing in women's sports is unprecedented. One rookie has drastically changed the financial landscape, and teams are rushing to take advantage of her few appearances. They're doing away with decades-old venue agreements, establishing new business alliances, and completely rethinking their ticketing strategies around the 2 games they host Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever this season.
Again, as of right now, to my knowledge, what I've seen, no other Angel Reese games have been moved due to potential attendance for said game. I mean, I'm just pointing that out. I'm not sure if you're allowed to.
Let's take a moment to be honest. The harsh reality Angel Reese must confront isn't about partiality or unfair treatment. Rather, it's about impact. Basketball experts are now publicly recommending that Reese concentrate on improving her own game rather than constantly comparing herself to Caitlin Clark, not only because of her numbers, but also because of her capacity to attract crowds, create excitement, and sell tickets.
I am going to be very interested to see what the ticket prices on these 2 games end up getting to, because they were very large for last year's matchups. And it should also be noted while we're talking about it, remember the Washington Mystics also moved 2 of their games yesterday too. I wonder if those were Angel Reese games. Oh, they weren't.
The WNBA is a professional sports league that needs to make money, not some charity. Teams are making decisions based on what keeps the lights on, not on who feels entitled to preferential treatment. So, where does Angel go from here? She can continue posting about being treated disrespectfully, or she can use her annoyance to become the kind of player who makes teams upgrade the venues for her games. The blueprint is in front of her. Will she follow it or continue to fight a battle that the box office numbers have already decided?